Oh, did we not turn on his mic?
Audio default. Test, test. Can you hear us?
I can hear you perfectly, loud and clear. What
Okay.
about?
Okay.
We can't hear you though.
For some reason, you're silent.
Let me see here.
Unmute. There we go.
Oh, now muted.
No, you have to unmute.
Hello. Can you hear me?
No, you're still muted. Do you want to leave and then come back? Sometimes it's technology.
Oh, there we go. Now we can hear you.
Oh, you can hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Good
Yay.
evening. Okay, let's start over.
Yes.
Welcome to Wine and Real Estate.
Yes. So we're here with our guest, Alfonso Quadra, and we're really excited to talk real estate with him. And I don't know if you're drinking anything. We're drinking a Pinot Noir from Chile. Oh, you're having a good soda stream.
Water.
That's good too.
Water as well.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you something. I just came back from out west, and it was a great trip. I was out there for about a month and a half, and in the Okanagan, and I think I've indulged. We indulged a little bit too much, so we're going through a dry week this week.
Oh, that's a good idea. Give your liver a little bit of a break.
So what did you discover any nice wineries there? Like, because you've indulged.
Oh, yeah, there's just so much, guys. I mean, in back in 2019 and before 2020 and before all this, our life got turned upside down. We were traveling all over. I mean, we were in Greece. We would go to Morocco and travel all Europe and the Caribbean. And, last summer we said, like, why not Canada? Like, if we can't leave Canada, travel Canada, it's big enough, and that was my first time ever, driving across the country. And I was just so amazed. I mean, I've gone to pretty much every city and every town across Canada, speaking. But when you're speaking, you're on stage, you do your thing, you go to the hotel, you really don't go out and see the town or the city. So I'm glad to enjoy our beautiful country. And I really encourage everyone to take a trip across Canada and just see what this beautiful country has to offer. And take the opportunity now that we're not allowed out of the country.
Yeah, absolutely.
However it goes. Yeah. But how are you guys doing?
Good.
Thank you so much for joining us after a month and a half trip. So we did something similar to you. We're in New Brunswick it's going to be a month and a half by the time we're done.
Oh, you guys are there now?
Yeah, that's it. We're there right now. And we did want to explore Nova Scotia because there's a nice wine region, but I don't think we'll have the chance.
I don't think we'll have the time, but we've been enjoying lobster rolls and paddle boarding in the ocean. So it's been nice as well.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so Canada, there's just so much. I mean, I went and explored the West Coast, and I went all the way to Nanaimo on Vancouver Island.
Wow.
So we drove all the way out there. We spent time in Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Alberta, BC. And I'm thinking maybe in October, go out east a little bit,
Yeah.
And
why not?
I've been to all of these places, but when you go on a plane, you're limited in the things that you see and the things that you can explore, right?
Yes.
That's so true.
And it's nice to take this. Sorry?
Did you fly or drive out there?
We drove.
We drove, and it's nice to take the scenic route. Like we didn't this time, but sometimes we take the scenic route and you see villages and you really get a flavor for the people and the communities.
Although I would say it is kind of scenic. Like you go by Rivière-du-Loup and all these little places that are very nice.
And you get to understand the people. And here, like us, we invest in New Brunswick. So it was very important to understand what makes people tick, what's their lifestyle, and getting to know them as well. And we've gotten to know a lot of our tenants, and it's very different. People are really friendly. At first it's almost scary. You're like, what do you want from me? So
yeah, you know what? There's a different flavor when you go to a smaller town. my wife and I were just we're walking in Lethbridge,
Oh
and Lethbridge, Alberta, and like we're walking down the river or down near the water or whatnot, and literally every single person said hi or hello.
Wow.
Or waved at us. I'm like, where are we? Like, what's happening here, right? But it's like it's just the way it is. It's just like smaller towns, people, and I think now, especially after people are coming out of this corona
Pandemic.
Not pandemic. I was gonna say coma.
Yes.
Corona.
You can call it that as well.
Yeah. It's like you start taking off your mask and like you're happy to see other human beings,
Mm-hmm.
And I really recommend it for everybody to just get out there and travel this beautiful city, country.
Yeah, that's such a great advice to give, Alfonso. So do you want to maybe we kind of skipped it.
Jumped into it.
Yeah, we just jumped right into it. But do you want to introduce yourself and maybe tell people a little bit about yourself who people maybe don't know? Who is Alfonso Quadra? What does he do?
First of all, if you don't know me, shame on you.
Yes.
That's it. So that's kind of why I skipped the intro. But some people...
Yeah, there might be somebody who's been living under a rock.
Just moved to Canada, whatever.
I make it my business to be known, right? People don't know you, they can't do business with you. It's just not going to happen. I've been doing this for 20 plus years now. I've been in real estate. I'm getting feedback. I'm getting my own voice back. Is that happening to you guys?
No. I'll mute us. Sometimes that helps.
Or maybe turn down your volume. You could. I don't know. Maybe if that works.
Is that better now?
I'll try. So I've been in this business for 20 years. 20 plus years, and a bit of my backstory. I came from Latin America, Central America, to be specific. I was in 2 wars before the age of 9. Immigrated to Canada as a refugee back in 1986. Had a tough time integrating into the education here in Canada. Ended up with the wrong crowd, dropped out of high school, ended up on the streets, and ultimately pretty much lost. I had a life-changing moment at 17 when I became a father, and that was a game changer for me. My daughter's 26 now, so you can imagine how long ago that was. It transformed me, transformed my life, transformed everything. I started a business at that time, grew that business to millions of dollars, multiple locations across Canada. Now I'm 21 years old with this success, but realized that I was not a business person. I had no financial education at home. No one told me about reserves and managing money and managing people. And shortly after 9/11. This is when everything changed for me, because we went through a correction in the industry and it almost took me out, right? So 21 years old, millions of dollars, successful business. And now I find myself 24 years old. I'm negative $1 million, almost about to lose everything. And I remember going through a bit of a depression. And I remember asking myself really tough questions, like, number one, how did I get here? Why? What did I do wrong? And I started to come to the realization that, what, I didn't know how to manage money, And so I started reading, and I picked up Rich Dad Poor Dad, Think and Grow Rich, some of these books, and I saw that, number one, my biggest issue was that I was a consumer.
Yes.
Right? So I was making money. I was doing well with my business, but I was spending the money on cars, jewelry, stuff. I mean, You guys remember being 21 years old. Imagine being
Mhm.
21 years old and having access to all of this.
Oh man, that would not be good.
It wasn't good. Especially I had nobody to look up to. I had no one to tell me like, hey, don't be dumb.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so what ended up happening was, 24 years old, almost to a point of bankruptcy. I'm negative. I was close to about negative, being negative $1 million, right?
Mm.
And I had to come down to earth and stand in my truth. And I started to educate myself, and I realized, whoa, like I'm a consumer, right?
Mm.
When I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, I could see where I got all of my habits from. I could see, where in my family I can pinpoint it, right to what my mom told me about education and what I was doing in my life. And then I started reading some more, and I realized, whoa, I only had one stream of income, right? Very vulnerable, only one stream of income. I had that business, and when you have a business, it's great, you're in control, but you're vulnerable. You're vulnerable to new ways of delivering the product, your new competition. You're vulnerable to your employees. COVID. Who knows what? Anything can happen when you're in business. So, and I was so dependent on that one stream, and when that was gone, everything. I almost lost everything. And so, one, I was a consumer. Two, I only had one stream of income, and then lastly, what was like the biggest impact for me is that that all of the wealthy people that I read about owned real estate, and I said to myself, okay, so that's going to be my second stream. I wanted to create a second stream of income that was indestructible, Armageddon proof. And then after doing my research, I realized that when people become wealthy and they have real estate, no one brags about owning a duplex or a triplex. It's mostly all apartment buildings, like multifamily. And to me, that made sense, right? There was something about a multifamily that made sense. The economy of scale, the idea that you can spread your risk amongst more units. And so that's when I made that decision. 2002, 2001, 2000, no, 2002, 2002, something like that. And I said, I'm going to do this full time, and I went back to rebuild my business. I got into real estate, specifically multifamily. And then I started to expand the portfolio and never looked back since. I actually sold that original company that I just spoke about, and got into real estate full time.
Wow, that's amazing.
What an inspiration. I mean, coming as a refugee, then being a dad at a very, very young age. That's our son's age. Can you imagine him?
Yeah,
as
I
a
could
dad?
not imagine our son having a kid right now.
Wash the baby, then wash yourself. Don't spend all your money on video games. Like, wow. Anyway. It's like the growth, and I can just imagine being a parent. Your life, as soon as you hear the baby cry for the first time, I remember I was 23, not 17, and I was still very young. And then the baby, just hearing that first cry, it changes you for life. You're like, oh, I'm a dad. I can't just wing it anymore. I have responsibilities and still make a lot of mistakes. But
I mean, of course, we don't want to encourage young people to have kids, right?
Not that young, anyway. At least 20 and above. I think it's a good age. You need to at least be done high school for sure. Maybe even college and university.
Well, I guess the moral of the story is discovering your why, discovering a purpose. Like for me, it was becoming a father, which gave me purpose, right? But it could be anything. It could be, negative Uncle Billy Bob that said, you know what, Francois, you can never do it. You're never going to be successful. Or it could be, you're one of your teachers. It could be, someone, one of your best friends or someone in your family that says, you know what, this is not for you, or you're not good enough, or whatever. There has to be some burning desire inside of you that says, I'm going to do this, and this is why I'm going to do it. And it's discovering your why, discovering your purpose, which is the most powerful thing that can happen to a human being. We all talk about setting goals. You can set goals all you want, but unless you have a real reason on why you need to accomplish that, you're never going to lose the weight or achieve the career you want, or the financial freedom that you want, or the properties that you want. You need to have a driving force. It's like gasoline, right? For me, at 17, I was a father. There's no better reason to
That's
shape
motivation.
up. It doesn't happen to everyone. It's just like that was my moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people have a hard time, with trying to figure out their why. They think that it needs to be like, for me, it was like I became a father, and that was my why. And people are like, oh, this grandiose why, right? Like, it doesn't have to be that way. It could be something. It could be like, look, you know what? Your card declines. You went out for dinner with your girlfriend, and your card declined because you have no money, and you decided that moment that you never want that to ever happen to you ever again, right?
Yeah.
You have to find something. It could be something very small, and then eventually your why will evolve and change. But you have to find something. It's the purpose that's going to drive you to achieve the goals.
And it's a good reminder. I mean, when you go through challenges, last week we were sharing on our podcast about our challenges. So a few evictions, lawsuits, a few different things. We're like, yeah, okay, now we really need to hold on to our why, because I'm like, I want to give up, but I want to give up 14 years ago. That's how bad I want to give up. And then my daughter's like, 14 years ago, what's wrong with all the past 14 years? And anyway, I got reminded. Yeah. Our kids are great reminders of your why. Sometimes if you need a good smack behind the head, ask your kids. They will remind you.
Yeah. You said there's lawsuits. It reminds me of my the first time I got sued, right? And I was just getting started in real estate, and as you know, everybody says, if you waive your conditions, you bought it, right?
Yeah.
And I've heard that so many times, but one day I did waive my condition, and I didn't have all my ducks in a row.
Mm.
And what happened was that the property, it was discovered that there was knob and tube, and because of that we couldn't get the insurance. Anyways, it was a big mess. Everybody was trying to sue me, and I remember when I was served. Okay, I called my mom.
Mom, I need help.
Mom, you won't believe it. I got sued.
And you were proud of it.
Yeah, I was happy. And she's like, Alfonso, like, this is like, why, like, yeah, like this would be devastating for me. Like, how can you be so positive about it? I said, Mom, you don't understand. I finally made it.
Yeah.
I have arrived. Nobody sues someone that doesn't have anything. So obviously I'm suable. So, and anyways, I dealt with it. It was, I went through the lawsuit and hired the right people, and I'm here to tell the story. But all those things are it's just proof that you're out there doing things, right? Mm-hmm. Because also you can live a life where nothing happens.
No, that's it.
Look at that. It's exciting.
Yeah, there's never a dull moment. I mean, sometimes we're like, can we be bored? A lot of people were bored during COVID.
We were not bored.
We were busy.
Yeah.
So,
go ahead. I was just going to say, you said that you invest in multifamily. So what are kind of the biggest things that you look at when you're looking at a property to invest in?
Well, the first thing that I do is look at the numbers. I mean, the numbers, the numbers tell the story. Mm-hmm. And if it doesn't make sense, it's not something that I'm going to pursue. Maybe the numbers are close. The first thing is the numbers. Then I look at the situation. What is the situation with the seller, right? Is the seller in a situation where they need to sell, or because these numbers don't make sense? And more often now in 2021, a lot of the properties that we're looking at, the numbers just don't make sense. You look at like what, like, this is person on planet Pluto or what? Like where do they get these numbers, right? I look at the numbers, and if the numbers are reasonable enough, I'll go to the next step, which is the discovery of the seller. And that's important for me, because if we're going to be in a situation where we're going to make a deal, and I'm going to need a significant price reduction, I need to understand what the problem of the seller, what are all the problems that the seller's going through, so I can be in a position to solve the seller's problems. And if I can solve the seller's problems, I know that mine are going to be automatic, and mine specifically being the price, right? If the price doesn't work out, I'm going to go back to that. Then I may put it under contract, and then I'll start doing my due diligence. And during my due diligence, I'm going to look at the market fundamentals. Where is this property? What is the potential of this property? Where are we going to end up, in 5-10 years? I like to have a long-term vision. I need to know what my exit strategy is going to be next year if I had to unload it, 5 years from now if I had to unload it, 10 years from now if I had to unload it. So what's the ultimate potential there? And how much work is going to be involved? Am I in a position? Is this property in an area where I have resources? Who's going to manage it? Capital. How easy is it going to be to raise the capital? Is it in a market where people are attracted to that market? These are all the things that I look at.
Oh, those are all really good points.
And a question we get a lot. So how do I get started? So now we spoke about the big property, big building, but how, like if we scale way back, first property.
Or did you start off with the big property right away?
Yeah. So my first property was a single when I was 21 years old. So I'm 44 now. So this was before I had this epiphany of I was going to be, owning properties all across Canada. I had just bought a property just like a consumer would, right? Bought a property. Yeah. It was on the Quebec side because that's where I could afford it at that time. And, it was a brand new property. And when I went through the situation where I almost lost everything, I liquidated, and that property was the only thing that really made money.
Okay.
So I said, okay, I need to reduce my cost of living. And so what I did was I bought a duplex that I converted into a triplex. And I did it in a way where I put the money in, and as you guys know, now we call it the BRRRR strategy. We didn't have this term 20 years ago. This is like a new term. We called it a refi flip, right?
Okay. A pre-BRRRR.
Yeah, this is a BRRRR is like a new millennial.
Yeah, the last 2 or 3 years, I would say. Yeah.
Everyone's BRRRRing now.
But we used to call it refi flips, or flip back to yourself. Yeah. And that strategy was something that really resonated with me, because it's I only had one chance, right? I had this little a bit of money that I got from the sale of that first house when I bought when I was 21, and I needed to make sure that could work for me. So the first deal that I bought was a duplex that I turned into a triplex, and within that first month I pulled out the money. And then my second deal was a 7-unit. And then what I realized when I bought the 7-unit is that it was the same work as the duplex, So it was like logical for me to start leveling up at that point in time. It was almost like logic that led me to buying bigger, right?
Makes sense.
Now I'm looking at 100 unit deals, 200 unit deals at a time. And then I say like, oh, this is the same work as my 50 unit.
Yeah.
So it's just like your mind just needs to get, once you get accustomed to a certain size or number, it just becomes the norm. So going back to your question, Francois, your question was, how does someone start? The first thing that someone needs to do is get educated, right?
Yeah.
That's the very first. I mean, I don't care how much money you have. If you don't know what you're doing, you're going to lose that money real quick.
Oh, yeah.
And so you got to get some sort of education. Clubs like the ones that you guys are running. I mean, this is a great source of community where people are supporting each other, and you guys are learning from one another. You have to tap into other people's experiences, right?
Yeah.
Because this is a industry where you can make a lot of mistakes, and those mistakes are costly, like you just mentioned, lawsuits. And I don't think you could ever completely eliminate mistakes, because they're important. Even though you could learn it and people can talk about it, until you go through it, you won't really know what they meant until now you're in a lawsuit, and then you'll learn, right? But you can mitigate the risk by tapping into someone else's experience, right? So step number 1 is get educated. Step number 2 is reach out to someone that has done this business before. Do not take advice from people that have no clue what they're doing or have no real estate. I always tell people, look for the people in your lives that have the results that you're looking for, and ask those people what they did, what the journey was, and to maybe get some mentorship. So education, mentorship, and then take action, right? Don't be one of those people that ask this person for advice and ask this person for advice and doesn't do anything. Take some sort of action. And at the very beginning, you might need to sacrifice, right? Depending on what your resources are. Like if you have capital, no capital, credit, no credit, you might have to sacrifice some things, right? But the easiest place for someone to start is probably buying a bungalow and converting the lower unit into a secondary dwelling unit, and then refining, burying the property, and taking that money and doing it again a few times, so they can raise some capital, and then eventually, within maybe on their 4th deal, they can level up into something bigger, right? Those would be like the quick steps that someone could take.
Yeah. I think those are a really good place to start. And absolutely, I think education and mentoring are such an important foundation to starting out, because you really can make some costly mistakes.
Oh, yes. And that's why, and having that network where you can reach out, because you will, and you hit it on the head there, you will make some costly mistakes no matter what, but at least you'll have someone to call. Hey, Alfonso, what do I do? So you know some people, and at least you can get out of some things, and hopefully you learn from other people's mistakes, and then you'll make your own. It's just like growing up.
Yeah.
But I love that analogy of buying a bungalow and adding a unit, creating value. I think this is what this whole thing is here, is creating value. I'm sure that's what you look at in those 100-unit buildings. How do I increase the value? So it's the same concept, just like you said, same amount of work. Like adding a basement suite is quite a bit of work. So 100 units, yeah, the scale is very different. But to bring that lift, again, you need contractors. It's the same fundamentals.
Yeah, you're definitely not going to be adding a basement unit into a 100-unit building.
If you do, you've got some problems. So, yeah.
Well, and you're right? Like you have to add value, right? Most people think that, okay, if I put X amount of dollars into this property, it's going to be worth X amount more. That's not the case. The money is really made on the buy. When you buy that property is when you make your money. So it's in the way you negotiate that property, in the way you drive that price down, and then you add some value where you can go back and recoup your initial investment. And the only way you're going to be able to negotiate and understand, what you're doing is by getting the education and the mentorship that we're talking about, where, someone can really go in there and get a price reduction in a market where, there's properties that are getting 20 offers.
Yeah. Is that possible? A price reduction?
Yeah. So it seems like a dirty word nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
But, you know what? It's because everybody's in real estate and they're trying to get in real estate, but they haven't taken the time to get educated.
No.
And so they're just buying properties at prices at any price. Those are speculators.
Yeah.
No matter what market you're in, you still cannot get away from the fundamentals of real estate, right?
Yeah. I'm glad that you said that.
Numbers, formulas, and all these things you have to learn, or else you're going to go out there and overpay for something that doesn't make sense.
That's so true, because I find that a lot of people, like I'll say the newer investors, seem to be doing the BRRRR, but have already overpaid for the property. So I don't know how they're doing it.
Like they find a bank that doesn't know their numbers, or I'm not sure how they do it, but something's going wrong.
Yeah.
Here's what's going wrong. When you're looking at singles and duplexes and triplexes, the mortgage it really depends on the debt to income ratio of the individual buying that property.
Mm-hmm.
So if they can afford that property,
they'll get it no matter what.
Get it. But maybe the deal doesn't make sense, right? You can buy, renovate, refi, and repeat. But if you're not making cash flow, making money doesn't make any sense, right?
Nope. You're repeating the mistake over and over. Until you're $1 million in debt or millions.
Or more than that. So that's the problem, right? So a lot of these people, they really just don't know what they're doing. And which is fine. I mean, to each their own. But anybody watching this, obviously, if you're taking the time to watch a vineyard, what's it called? Vineyard?
Wine and real estate.
Yes.
No. This year it's called Vineyard or
StreamYard.
StreamYard, yes.
Yeah. StreamYard. Sorry. StreamYard. Anybody taking time right now to watch a StreamYard on Facebook is obviously somebody that is really interested in real estate.
Mm-hmm.
And if you stuck around this long into the interview, it means that there's something here that either grabbed you or it's like, you're attracted to. So I'm speaking to the person that is at this point in the interview. You know what? Go out there and get the education, connect with the community, and get the mentorship and get started. Take action, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because this is the time. There is no better time. No, it's not like because the prices are up that you can't take action.
No.
I mean, the money's being made right now, and the money will be made tomorrow, and the money was made yesterday. There is no right time.
Mm-hmm.
It's today. That's it. And you just have to operate. And people that are in the know, that have the education, they're going to find the deals. You're going to be able to negotiate. And maybe they're not every person saying yes to a price reduction, but it's going to require some effort, right? It's going to require some finesse. It's going to require you to do a proper discovery. There is a little bit of work to this, but if you put in the work and it's focused on exactly what you're looking for and it's in alignment with your goals, you're going to be successful.
Yeah, that's so true. I have a burning question for you, Alfonso.
Here.
So, how do you find the 50 and 100 unit deals? Like, are there lots of those to be found in Canada? I think that a lot of people are kind of wondering that when they're listening to you talk about the 100-door deals.
Yeah, because you don't see them listed.
Right, not going to see those on MLS, obviously.
What kind of car do you drive?
We have a Rogue, Nissan Rogue.
And a Kia Soul.
Did you own that? Have you owned that for a while?
2020 and 2016.
Yeah, a little while.
And before that, you probably never really noticed that Nissan Rogue, and then when you bought one,
That's all you see.
They're everywhere. That's all you see, right?
Yeah, that's so true.
That's exactly how it is. The second you level up into, like, for example, the first level up that someone's going to do may be a 10-unit building or a 15-unit building, and then you soon realize, like, whoa, there's 10-unit buildings, they're everywhere, right? And then that's all you see, right? This is all you're analyzing. The second you make a decision that, okay, I want to buy something bigger, that's all you see. That's all people bring you, right?
Mm.
I'm putting it out there right now on this show. If you have a 20-unit property, bring it my way, right? Like, so it's out there. People know me for that. Sometimes these deals come to me off market. There's a specific strategy that I employ, and how to get to that, get to a position where people are offering me deals off market. And so you're gonna start to see them everywhere. Now, it's true, Canada doesn't have that type of inventory, and so there's also across the border, right? Yeah. So another thing that we're doing, we're making an entry into the US, because they do have a healthy amount of 200, 300, 400 units at a time. And for us, it just makes more sense to go down that route than try to battle it out. Trying to buying a 10-unit, a 15-unit is just
overpriced, and yeah. Because the price per door, I mean, Tennessee, you can get $20,000, $25,000 per door. It's just insane. In Canada, you'd get maybe a shed. So, wow.
Now, like, there is distressed properties, but also, when you're buying a significant portfolio like that, it is going to require a lot of your time. Like, it is going to require at least your presence at some point. Even if you're set up a team, you're still going to have to go there. And so I started thinking to myself, if I'm going to have to go consistently to somewhere, it should be somewhere where it's warmer.
Yeah, somewhere pleasant. Yeah.
You can set up your investments to where you want a vacation to. You see?
What's in it for me? Yes.
Yeah, awesome. That's a great plan.
Yes.
And so that those are the kind of things that
it's a business expense. So when you travel, you're checking on your building.
Yeah. I mean, I've been doing. Listen, guys, we're talking 20 plus years. I've seen it all. I've talked with the tenants. It's time for me to just have more, things. I'm very selective with the deals that I go after. After 20 years, where maybe 20 years ago I was like, I would take on anything, right? And I wouldn't necessarily discourage people from taking on anything, because everybody's got to learn. But at some point in your career, you're going to be more selective with the deals, and I'm mixing lifestyle with what I do as well.
Yeah,
that's awesome. You refine after the 20 years. You want to kind of enjoy life even more. That's the whole point, right?
I just mentioned we drove out west for a month and a half, and it was good. We looked at some property. Of course, we're addicted anyways. But
I'm sure you analyze every town and city.
We didn't expect anything else.
No.
But it's nice, right? It's nice to have the time, and a lot of the times now I like even investing in people's deals. Like, if a deal makes sense, I'd rather put the money up than sign a check than anything else, right? That's my favorite thing to do, is sign checks.
Well, I think that's the easiest part of real estate, is the people signing the checks, right?
Yes, we can't wait to be in that seat. Here you go. Here's $1 million.
Here's that check.
That's so there's a progression. Over 20 years, you're gonna start. Things have to match your goals and where you're at, and anybody watching this has to start somewhere. And if you're somewhere in the middle, then ask yourself, can you be doing more? Are you able to level up? Because the more you level up, the faster you level up, you're going to start to create more time for yourself, because it's less work.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Absolutely.
Yeah, the scaling. It's like this podcast. So we started it as a live, just Jennifer and I. That's why it's called Wine and Real Estate. We were drinking wine and talking about real estate. We had trouble getting through 3 minutes. It was really hard. It was a struggle. We're like, 3 minutes, we can do it. Then we did 5 minutes, then 10 minutes. Then we're like, maybe we should have some guests and then they can do the talking and then we can leverage that. And yeah, so we decided to keep it live because it's fun and there's always surprises, which is just like real estate investing. You never know what's gonna be next, and there's lots of good surprises and there's some bad surprises, but you never know what's next, and that's why I like the live element. And yeah, it's incremental and you grow and scale, and it's like anything in life, like growing muscles.
We talked about it before, adding value, right? So by doing this podcast, you're adding value to another investor out there, right? Like you have interesting guests and people that bring different perspectives, and you're contributing something. And I think this is the reason why you guys are getting all the success that you're getting, because it's like it's reciprocal, right? It's like you're putting it out there and it's coming back to you.
Thank you.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, it was just before we came live here. I don't know if he's listening, but anyway, one of our tenants, I talk to all our tenants when I can. Sometimes we don't meet them depending on the property, but some that I do meet, I always tell them, if you want to become an investor and get out of this tenants, like we do need tenants, but get out of renting and grow wealth, I'd love to teach you. And we just have conversations. Anyway, we were going on and on. I'm like, I have to run. I have a podcast.
Yes.
But it's motivating. Like, it's really nice to see people changing their lives and like growing wealth for their families. And that's kind of how I feel I give back. And Jennifer does similar things as well. Like, we're always chatting with people, and then you never know where it leads you.
It's a big platform. Like it's incredible on how many people you actually can reach with this platform, right?
Yeah.
Like before COVID, I was on stages all across North America. But that's just North America, And after, when we got hit with COVID, I was like, what am I going to do? I still have so much in me to give, right? Because I give all of me. Like, I don't leave anything behind. When I was on stages and teaching people real estate and how to invest into multifamilies, like, if you ever came to one of my workshops or any one of my presentations, you're like, man, this guy is like, one thing I'll know is this guy's passionate about real estate.
Wow, you were drained after.
Because like there's two types of speakers. There's a speaker that transfers information. What I know, you will know. And there's speakers that transfer feeling, right? How I feel is the way you'll feel. And if I can make you feel the same way about real estate, the way I feel, you're going to be unstoppable. Wow. When the lights got turned off, no more events. I'm like, holy, like my whole year was booked already. My whole entire year, 2020, was booked. And I said, well, what am I going to do? And then so I jumped on YouTube, right? I started, just sharing my mind and my thoughts on YouTube.
I love your YouTube videos.
Yeah, like
awesome.
I just want to make sure people can get that value, and I can still, it's a burning desire for me and help people. And I get messages from people in Australia,
Wow.
The other day was someone from the UK. Like, it's like I can impact someone's life from all the way across the ocean, from right here,
That's
from my office, from this flip chart.
Yes.
And it's just incredible, the platforms and all the access that we have right now, and what you guys are doing with your show. It's really truly incredible. I think we met about a couple of months ago, and that was the first time I ever got introduced to what you guys are doing, and you guys are doing a great job, and you're adding a lot of value into people's lives. And if that tenant doesn't take you up on your offer, shame on him.
Yeah, no, he is. We're actually attending a live networking event in person in New Brunswick tomorrow night. So I'm really excited to get him introduced and to this. And like at first he thought, and I thought the same when I met people in New Brunswick, they want something out of me. He's like, what is this, like a pyramid scheme? Are you making money off of me? Things like that. I'm like, no. I don't care. Like, I don't want anything out of it. All I want is for you to be free financially and hopefully buy the building and I can move on. So anyway, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I really want to help people. And so does Jennifer. And you too, Alfonso. Like, you're really helping people's lives for 20 years. Can you imagine the legacy? Must be insane. Like,
absolutely.
It's something that is meaningful to me, right? I've been doing this work for a long time. Behind me, if you see this picture here, it's a picture of me in a maybe.
Can you zoom?
I'm in my office right now, but here, hold on a second here. There you go. Look. So these I'm very much in the schools. We started a youth foundation in order to help young people learn about financial literacy and teaching people, how to develop businesses and things like that. It's called the Quadra Youth Foundation. We have a Facebook page, and you can come and check us out. We were doing live events, but anyways, I've been going in the schools for years, and that picture in the back, there's a young man in that picture that I went to his school. He was 10 years old, and when he's about 23 years old, and he reached out, and like, listen, you came to my school, and I watch your videos on YouTube, and I want to get into real estate. And so he became part of the mentorship program, and it just, you don't know who you're gonna connect with. You don't know who you're gonna be able to impact. What life are you gonna be able to touch? You don't know until way after. And for me to receive that way after, it's like a blessing, right? It's like, it's better than any money. When someone reaches out and say, listen, I watched you on the Wine and Real Estate show back in 2021. It's 2030 now, and that one thing you said changed my life. When I get those types of messages, it's like, whew, I am doing the right thing. Like, because you don't know who's listening. Like, you guys think, you're doing this show, you might think like, who's gonna watch the whole show, or how many people are we impacted? You don't know that right now. You'll see that later. Later on, people will say, you know what? I remember your show. I watched you guys, and that one thing you said, that's why I did all this,
Oh, that's awesome. I hope that happens to us in 10 years.
It absolutely will. It absolutely will.
That would be really cool.
So how can people get a hold of you, Alfonso? What's your YouTube channel's name?
Yeah, so I'm very Googleable.
Googleable?
At the bottom here, you'll see my name, Alfonso Quadra. If you type that into the Google machine, you'll find my website. You'll find my Facebook. I encourage people to go to my YouTube channel, subscribe. I pour my heart out there, like I share my life.
You really do. It's crazy the stuff you put out. I'm like, whoa.
I love. If people are listening, you have to go listen to his YouTube video about the 3 days in one, where you do those 6-hour blocks.
Yes.
Oh, that was like
productivity. Yeah. So I have, like, on my YouTube channel, I don't know, it's very different than other YouTube channels. It's not, I don't sell anything. I just want to give people value. I share my parts of my life with people. Some videos I'm just like playing with my kids. Just, I want people to see, get a glimpse into my life and the life of an investor. Sometimes I'll be walking buildings. People can walk, come and see how I walk a building, renovations, all kinds of stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So Google Alfonso Quadra to learn more. So thank you so much for being with us, Alfonso. It was really a great chat about real estate, and we just love your passion and your energy.
We'll have to meet in Ottawa in person when at some point for real, or somewhere. We're actually meeting a lot of people we said we should meet, and now we're meeting them in Moncton. We're meeting people in Detroit that we know from Ottawa. So maybe we'll meet in Ottawa or
everywhere.
in BC or in Florida. I don't know, but somewhere we'll have to meet.
Yes.
The world is meant to be explored.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And you guys are out east. Maybe I'll make my way out there. Maybe you come here. We definitely need to meet for sure.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Alfonso.
Have a great evening.
Thank you, guys.
Take care.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to comment down below, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified the next time we're doing a video. And guess what? Like, share, dislike, I don't care! Let me see how that looks.